The term protagonist is typically associated with the good guy or the hero. However, it's actually used to refer to the main character. In the first generation of games, the protagonist is Red. But does that really mean that Red is the good guy, worthy of all our sympathy and affection? Think again. From the very beginning, Blue has teased and taunted Red at every turn. But then Red snaps when both begin their Pokemon journey. In one fateful battle aboard the SSN, Red delivers the fatal blow to Blue's cherished Raticate. The party ends and the partygoers get ready to leave as Blue tries to help his ailing companion. Rather than offer assistance, or even a potion, Red walks away to pursue his own selfish needs. In the mad rush to get off the ship, Blue cannot make it to the Pokemon Center in time, and his teammate and friend passes on. He buries his Raticate in the Pokemon Tower. To prevent something like this to ever happen again, Blue vows that he'll become the most powerful trainer in the world, so he'll never lose a friend again. Then Red shows up while Blue is busy mourning. Perplexed why Red would dare show his face, since none of his Pokemon are dead, Blue tells him that he does not hold him responsible for what happened. Red doesn't listen, and Blue attempts to avenge his Pokemon. He is easily defeated, and Red strolls away up the tower. Blue steps up in his training and builds the strongest team he can find. Not a single trainer in the world could match him, and gym leaders marveled at the powerful bond he shared with his Pokemon. He sweeps through the Elite Four and becomes champion. Unbeknownst to Blue, however, Red was following close behind and taking advantage of the weakened trainers Blue fought so hard to defeat just a few minutes earlier. Red beats him once again and becomes the new champion. To add insult to injury, Blue's grandfather arrives and expresses his utter disappointment in him. Blue's dreams and aspirations were taken away in a flash by the same guy who killed his friend. Oh, and Blue is an orphan too on top of all that. Red is quite possibly the worst person in the history of gaming. Now this is probably the most heartbreaking theory that I've heard. This perspective makes Red, and by extension us, the players, the worst villains of all time, ranking up there with Rasputin, Bad Horse, the Alabama Crimson Tide, Skynet, and Cruella de Vil. Most of us would rather not think of ourselves as a bad guy, and some have tried to look for ways to debunk this theory. I found that all of Red's evil deeds can be unraveled by exposing one major flaw: the supposed death of Blue's Raticate. If it doesn't die, then Blue has no reason to be in mourning at the Pokemon Tower in Lavender. It's possible that he's just there to pay his respects to the dead, which would prevent that snowball effect of his wanting to avenge his fallen teammate. But then why wouldn't he use his Raticate anymore? Some speculate that your battle on the SSN left it handicapped, rendering it unable to fight in future battles. Others suggest he may have traded it or released it into the wild. Perhaps Blue was using Nuzlocke rules, but only on his Raticate. I, on the other hand, believed he dumped that weak rat in his PC in order to make room for a different Pokemon. He already had Pidgeotto, a normal and flying type. What would be the point of carrying a second normal type? For the purpose of having a balanced team, Blue must have deposited that underleveled Raticate to make room. So no need to worry, you're not a murderer and Red isn't as cruel as he seems. But Gonzo, what about Professor Oak expressing his disappointment in Blue after he loses the championship battle to Red? Simple. He heard about Blue depositing his Raticate and noticed that it wasn't going to be used ever again. This shows that Blue may not care enough about all of his Pokemon and is too focused on only strength without any concern for building a loving bond with each of his Pokemon, as Red does, supposedly. Oak tells Blue he lost because he doesn't share that special bond with his party like Red does, which explains his disappointment. With all of these factors in mind, Pokemon myth busted.